A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 7th of September 2020. Day is Monday. I'm sure you all have enjoyed your weekend. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote. He who is not every day conquering some fear has not learned the secret of life. Some fear. Tiny fears that we encounter on regular basis. Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering how we can get rid of this tiny fears, how we can conquer them. Uh, if you want to conquer your this tiny fears or big fears, what you have to do is you have to train your mind. That is the only way out. If you try to work on that fear, I'm not sure whether it will work or not, but if you do things that will make you stronger in character, if you can do things that you don't like to do, I'm not saying that to do those things throughout your day, but tiny things, right? When you wake up in the morning, make your bed. If you're going out somewhere, then make sure that you polish your shoes. When you're done with your lunch or dinner, make sure you pick up your food plate and put it in a sink or maybe that washing area. So this sort of tiny habits, this sort of things that you will not get awards for doing these things, but this will train your mind. When you feel lazy, right? When you feel like you don't want to do exercise. That is the right time to train your mind. When you feel not doing it, and if you do these things, you will find that you will get stronger and stronger, and then this fear as well will evaporate. Think about it. With this difference, the StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. So this smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. On our table, we have 5 important articles. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook as well. This is a very famous photograph. On one side, you can see the Indian team. On the other side, of course, Chinese team. This photograph was clicked in Moscow a few days ago, precisely on Friday. There was this meeting between Defense Minister of India and Defense Minister of China. And of course, you can see the staff of Indian Defense Ministry having a word with staff of Chinese Defense Ministry. And this is a very important topic, as we all know, because LSC issues are going on. Now, dear friends, the most important thing about this meeting is that the outcome. Of course, we all want to know what was the outcome of this meeting. So it's not that great. This meeting has clearly proved that at present there is no diplomatic solution for this issue that is going on between India and China. But that does not mean that there is no solution at all. At present, we don't have any solution. This meeting was not able to deliver any solution or any solid thing. But it is a very important meeting, of course. What happens is that we see the very top of, the tip of iceberg. It's like when you drop a cube of ice in a glass of water, then you can see only the top bit, 1/7 part is visible. The rest of the part is not visible. So in the same way, this sort of meetings, if they are not able to deliver any outcome, that does not mean that it was a waste of time. It was a baby step in right direction. So at least, even if we are in this face to face, or you can say head to head situation, I'm talking about the defense or this army of India and China. They are in a very at present what is the right word, a critical stage. But then as well, ministry officials are trying to find ways through which both countries can have an interaction. So that is a positive sign. If we read between the lines, then that is a very positive sign. Now, the reason why this meeting was not able to deliver any result is because statements issued by both sides have underlined the sharp differences in how New Delhi and Beijing have continued to view the unprecedented developments along the border since May. So China is saying that India is saying that China is intruding We know it very well who is intruding, but still China is also saying the same thing. China is saying that India has violated and India should go back, and Indian soldiers, they need to go back, and the status quo and everything. Whatever we are saying, they are like it. You find a sort of mirror words coming from China. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has categorically conveyed India's stand, emphasizing that China's actions were in violation of the bilateral agreements. There are so many bilateral agreements between India and China, and in this bilateral agreements, we have clearly agreed, both nations have agreed, that if there will be any issue pertaining to border, then both nations will have a word with each other. We will discuss, we will talk with each other and we'll try to solve this problem rather than behaving in a very aggressive manner. But China has violated these bilateral agreements. I'm quite interested with this statement from our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. He said that diplomacy is the only way out of the crisis, and this reminds me of the words of late Shri Sushma Swaraj ji when this Doklam issue took place back in 2017. She said a very interesting thing in the parliament. She said that after a war, or if you want to end a war, the only way is to talk, right? To end a war as well, you have to talk. So why not talk before a war so that there is no war? And here, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that diplomacy is the only way out of the crisis. And he is spot on. He is 100% right. Diplomacy is the only talks, discussions are the only way out of this crisis. But for that to happen, you need both hands, right? You need both sides. If you want to clap, then you need two hands. You cannot have one hand clapping. In the same way, if you want diplomacy to work, if you want to genuinely solve the problem, then both sides must understand that they have to give something, take something. It will be give and take, and we have to find a win-win situation or solution. So on 10th September, S. Jaishankar will hopefully meet Wang Yi. This meeting is going to take place. There is going to be a SCO, Foreign Ministers meeting. SCO stands for Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And I have a question for you. Can you tell me how many countries? I don't want the number. I want the names of the countries that are part of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Stick your answer in the comment section. With this, dear friends, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have already subscribed, then can I request you guys to ask 3 more students, ask them to or inform them about StudyIQ. And thank you very much to all those students who are doing it on a regular basis. Now, the second article is going to, it's going to trigger you to think about, or it will trigger you to question so many things that you have read or you have heard about the Supreme Court. Now, first of all, it is very important that I tell you that this article, the name of this article is Courts Drift and Chinks in the Judiciary's Armor. This article is written by Justice A.P. Shah. Now, who is Justice A.P. Shah? He has been Chief Justice of 2 High Courts. One is Delhi High Court and the other one is Madras High Court. Okay? And is former chairperson of Law Commission of India. So the reason I'm striking this out is because a person who has worked in judiciary, a person who has, who was very important part of judicial system, has written this article. And he's talking about Supreme Court. Chinks. Chinks means holes, right, in the armor. So when your armor has developed some holes, that means your armor is weak, and this will damage you quite badly in a war-like situation, isn't it? So chinks in the armor of Supreme Court. Here the writer is talking about 2 cases. The first one is about Prashant Bhushan's contempt case, and the second one is about retirement of Justice Arun Mishra. So first we are going to talk about this one. Now I'm sure you know it very well what contempt case is all about because we have talked about this thing last week and a week before that as well. So of course I believe I don't have to explain things like what is contempt of court and rules and regulations pertaining to it, and then we have checked some decisions taken by other courts in the past, and we have talked about UK's court as well, remember? So here, this Prashant Bhushan's case, the writer is saying that the court said that what Prashant Bhushan said, it reflects adamance and ego which has no place to exist in the system of administration of justice and in noble profession, and no remorse is shown for the harm done to the institution to which he belongs. The court said that ego is something that is ego is a thing that has no place in this system of justice. So let me put it this way. This will be much easier for you to understand. Supreme Court said that ego has no place in Supreme Court. Supreme Court is, it's so great that this petty things like ego and other things, they have no place here. And whatever Prashant Bhushan has said, the court is ready to let it go. So all he has to do is just apologize. If you apologize, mate, we'll make sure that everything, we'll forget about everything, and then we can continue back to normal. But Prashant Bhushan said that my apology will be insincere. If I apologize, it will not be coming from my heart. It will be just for the sake of saying it, that I'm sorry. The court gave Prashant Bhushan some extra days. The court gave some extra hours to Prashant Bhushan. So on one side, court was saying that ego has no place, and on the other side, Supreme Court was giving some extra time so that Prashant Bhushan can apologize, and that can satisfy the ego of Supreme Court, isn't it? One more thing, that I strongly believe that if everyone will start talking negative about our judicial system, then that will send a very bad message. If something is wrong, then of course we have to talk about it. But you cannot allow rumors, fake news, this sort of things. You cannot allow this sort of things to run free in democracy because, from their action so far, if we see the history, overall history, I'm not saying that courts are 100% perfect. Of course not. They are not Sigma 6. But overall, you can say that they have performed reasonably well. Though I must admit that justice delivery system is very, very slow in our country. But still, because of this, so many cases, if we find some good outcomes. Based on that, I can say that things are not that bad yet. But there is definitely a room for improvement when it comes to our judicial system. So this is one point, right? So here you can clearly see that Supreme Court has just wasted its time after these tweets and this whole case of Prashant Bhushan. Second thing, because one more thing that I would like to add here before we jump on to Justice Arun Mishra's retirement. See, this Prashant Bhushan's case will be in how it works in judiciary is that when you are training students, law students, then you are going to give this whenever there will be any discussion throughout our country and in other countries as well, right? Whenever these young students, law students, when they will come across this point of contempt of court, they will be given examples, and then Prashant Bhushan's example will be given as well, and this will put the decision of Supreme Court to chase Prashant Bhushan and finally accepting 1 rupee and let him go. Everything has not created any sort of it has not added value to the Supreme Court. In fact, it has added more mud on its image, I would say. Justice Mishra's last few decisions as member of Supreme Court before he retired on 2nd September are quite interesting. He was Chief Justice from 2014 to 2020, if I'm not wrong. For nearly 5-6 years, he was part of Supreme Court Judiciary. I have one more question for you. Can you tell me what is the total strength? How many seats are available for judges in the Supreme Court of India? Stick your answer in the comment section. This is your question number 2. Very important. Okay. So the thing is, Justice Arun Mishra, if you see that in all politically sensitive cases, he will always be the part of that particular bench. One consistent feature has revealed itself throughout, which is kinds of cases that were assigned to the benches he was on and the kinds of decisions he issued. And as per this article, his decisions were pro-executive. There are so many writers, so many columnists, and there are so many people there saying that there was a time when Supreme Court was rights-based, but now Supreme Court is, it has started inclining towards being an executive court. Justice Kurian Joseph suggesting that the assignment of work in the court during Justice Deepak Mishra's tenure was remote controlled. I'm sure you know about this press conference that took place in 2018, January 2018. If I'm not wrong, it was 18th January, but still, I'm not sure about the date, but I'm for sure about, I'm 100% sure about January 2018. So let me throw some light on some important things. They're not covered in this particular article, but I want you guys to know about it so that this will help you to understand how it works. So you have Chief Justice of India, who is the senior most person or senior most judge, and then underneath him you have 4 judges. These are the senior most Supreme Court judges, right? So I'm just writing Supreme Court SC, that is Supreme Court judge. So total, this 5 judges, they form one important thing called collegium. Collegium is headed by CJI. So the power of collegium is the collegium will decide who is going to be part of Supreme Court. Collegium will decide a name, it will send it to the government, and this is how it works, right? If you want to promote one High Court judge to Supreme Court, then the collegium will decide this. Collegium will decide whether that person's name will be sent to government or not. So you can understand how powerful this is. And no discussions or no minutes of its discussion is available. So decisions are taken in veil or behind the veil, you can say. So the functioning of collegium system is quite opaque, we can clearly say. Okay, point number 1. Second thing, this press conference that I was talking about, it was by 4 senior most Supreme Court judges. They were part of this collegium, and they said that at that point of time that the Chief Justice of India, the way he is assigning his cases, because there is a thing called Master of Roster, as you can see here. This is Master of Roster. So what is Master of Roster? Master of Roster basically means division of work. I'm using layman's language here that will help you understand, right? I'm not being too technical here, but what I'm saying is 100% right. I'm just giving you some examples. So let's say if you are the head of, or if you are a manager, then you will send someone to look after production. Someone will do marketing. Someone will do sales, right? Or someone will do human resource, and then you will look after all of them. And this is how you manage an organization. In the same way, the Chief Justice of India will decide who will look after cases pertaining to executives, who will look after cases pertaining to rapes, who will look after murder cases, who will look after corruption cases, who will look after other cases or judicial cases, and so on and so forth. So here, Justice Kurian Joseph has said that during Deepak Mishra's tenure, everything was remote controlled. And remote control means, Chief Justice of India will decide that, okay, if there is a case that is politically sensitive, then Arun Mishra will be made part of that bench. So you will find Arun Mishra always there. If there is a 2 judges bench, then he will be there. If 3 judges bench, then he will be there. See? So this sort of game was going on. National Judicial Appointments Commission, a very important constitutional amendment, and then finally it was made a law. And I'm sure you know that if you want to make some changes with judiciary, then it's not that easy. You need two-third majority in the parliament, and then you have to send it to at least 50% plus states. Their legislative assembly should give a green signal, and only after that you can go ahead with amendments pertaining to judiciary. So after all this process, NJAC Act came into existence, but then Supreme Court said that this will interfere. This act is it will hamper judiciary's independence. But what you see today is, in a very subtle way, the judiciary is inclined towards executives. And you don't need all 30, 32, 35 judges. I'm not giving you the answer. So what I'm saying is, you don't need all judges of Supreme Court to be on your side. If you have some favorable conditions, like this master of roster thing, if CJI is on your side, and if CJI has 1 or 2 judges, right, then your job will be done. Now CJI will decide if there is any particular case against you, then CJI will put that particular judge, and then you know what will happen, right? So this is how they do it. There is a way out. We can follow the system of European judiciary, where randomly cases are assigned, and there is nothing like this that we find. And lastly, this reminds us, all of us, the words of CJI Y.V. Chandrachud in 1985. Chief Justice of India, then Chief Justice of India Chandrachud sir said that there is greater threat to independence of the judiciary from within than without. Right, from within this system only you will find issues that will hamper the judiciary's independence, and not someone from outside. See, mixed messaging. Recently, this partnership forum, there was a meeting of US-India Strategic Partnership Forum, or it took place, and Prime Minister Modi virtually addressed this forum. Of course, Prime Minister talked about India as an investment destination. He also highlighted few strong points about India, like 65% population is quite young and under 35. And he talked about so many other things as well. We have talked about these things in daily financial news analysis. But anyway, I'm being very brief here because these are the most important things that you need to understand. So basically, Prime Minister said that India is capable of being a manufacturing hub and can play a very important role in global supply chain. And he is absolutely right. There is no doubt about it. As we all know that at present we have this trade war situation going on for a very long period of time between two largest economies of the world. So what Prime Minister was trying to do is, or he tried to impress, or he tried to woo all those US businesses to shift their partial production, or they can start new additional plants. They can completely shut off their work in China, and then they can start their work in India. Now, let me clarify one thing, that if we expect that every single country, every single company will shut off their jobs or their work or factories in China and they will come to India, then that is just, I would say that is a myth. That will be a myth, That's not possible. That's impossible. But yes, we can definitely attract a few companies for now. And if we can get some big names in our side, then this will send a statement. This will send a clear message to China that if you think, if you misbehave, then that will not last for a long period of time. You have to be you need to send a clear warning signal to China. You need to say, and just words are not going to impact China. Some sort of action. If few companies, if they shift their production, if they shut off their production, and if we can do that thing, then that will definitely make China to think about it seriously. Prime Minister also explained what Atmanirbhar Bharat is all about, and he talked about import substitution. That basically means that the things that we can produce in our country, why to buy it from someone else? And he said Atmanirbhar is not about closing our doors. In fact, we are opening our doors for foreign direct investment, and India is ready to manufacture things, global goods here, good quality, reasonable price products, and sell it to various different parts. And we are a democracy, we are a reliable country, you can rely on us, we are not going to cheat you, we are not going to, if there is any sort of issue, then we are not going to do something like China with you. So you can rest assured about this thing. Moving on to next item, the main challenges in estimating deaths. Now the system in our country, if we see, so many people have died because of coronavirus. The official number as on 26th August 2020 was 59,449, but there are scientists who are saying that you need to multiply it by 5. So roughly speaking, more than 3 lakh people have died because of COVID-19, but the data says that somewhere around 60,000 people have died. The reason is that there are two kinds of challenges in estimating the number of deaths due to COVID-19. The first is weaknesses in our mortality surveillance system, and the second is COVID-19 specific issues that are there in our country. In an ideal world, we would be able to count all deaths and have a certified cause of death in all the cases. In real world, we have neither. According to the Civil Registration Scheme report for 2018, 86% of all deaths were registered, with 34% being through hospitals. However, this would not be a good source for cause of death, as it is reported by the next of kin at the time of registration. When you register the next of the kin, they will say that what is the reason behind it, and this is the main reason why you cannot rely on this data. As per the report released by Office of Registrar General of India (ORGI) in 2018, 1.45 million deaths, that is 21%, beg your pardon, 1.45 million deaths, or 21% all registered deaths, and hence multiplication by 5 suggested by scientists were medically certified. MCCD has an urban bias, and there are also issues related to quality of death certification by doctors. There is urban bias. You find this sort of things in urban area but not in rural area. Nowadays we find that COVID-19 is quite it's spreading quite rapidly in rural area. So this sort of registration will not take place on time, will not get data on time because of lockdown, because of restrictions, because of social stigma. We find that many people, they are not using COVID-19 as the reason for death. There is a gray area as well. Just imagine if someone is having cardiac issue or heart related issues, and if that person gets coronavirus and then that person passes away because of heart attack, but he is infected by coronavirus, but the main cause is heart attack. So the doctor will write heart attack. The doctor will not write COVID-19, even though the whole thing is triggered by COVID-19. So I hope this thing is clear to you. So there are so many gray areas and so many issues, and this is the main reason why we don't get the right figure. And these things are not registered electronically. They are registered physically, and then it is the data is data entry takes place in electronic mode, and then we get the proper data. So it takes time. The Lancet has said in its 2012 report that back in 2009, when this swine flu pandemic hit our planet, at that point of time, whatever the numbers came out later on, back in 2012, the Lancet said that the real mortality was 15 times higher than the globally reported laboratory confirmed cases. That's basically everything. And the last one of the day is this article is written by one official from United Nations, and in this article they are saying that the governments are struggling to inject money in the economy to make things back to normal, to control this coronavirus, and to support healthcare system. So expenses are quite high and incoming money is very low. So this has created fiscal pressure, financial pressure on government. So of course we need to get out of this situation. So here this article is basically suggesting this 3 important points. The first one is address the challenge of diminished fiscal space and debt vulnerability. So first you need to sort out your financial issues, financial things like how you can get more money, or if there are any loans available, if you can get any grant or anything, then use that money and use it wisely. When you use it, make sure that you use it for long term. You keep in mind Paris Agreement as well as Social Development Goals 2030 in your mind. So ensure sustainable recovery. And the last thing is regional cooperation. Help each other, and there are groups that can help each other. They can, if they have extra money, then they can help each other, and that's how we can come out of it. The United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific, it is known as ESCAP, has recently launched its first ever regional conversation series on building back better. And in this building back better, it is talking about the 3 points that we have just discussed. And that's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Thank you very much for watching this video. I have these news items for you. Make sure you go through them. And I'll see you with daily financial news and analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless. Jai Hind.